My review of the Doors album, Other Voices. It was released in 1971 and produced by the Doors and Bruce Botnick. The Gymless Doors albums, like, I was aware that they existed from pretty much like the time I was into the Doors, like onwards. I'd read about them on the internet, and I'd also read that they weren't very good, so I didn't really have a whole lot of interest in listening to them. It wasn't really until like I had heard all the Doors albums with Jim that I had any interest in seeking them out. And I would say at the time I was kind of more against like lineup changes in bands and things like that, so that kind of played into that hesitancy. I'm like, they don't have Jim, I don't know if I want to hear it. And then, just hearing that they're not very good kind of made me hesitate for a long time too. And eventually I got around to just listening to them on YouTube, probably around like 2009, and I didn't really hate it, and I didn't really like it. I kind of was just like, okay, there's some good stuff here and a lot of bad stuff, and I kind of just didn't go back to them for a long time. Like, I remember I kind of like took them off YouTube and put all the songs on my iPod, so like I had both the Gymless albums for a while but didn't like have physical copies. It wasn't until later I got a CD that had both of them on there that I had a physical copy, and then I found this vinyl copy of Other Voices a couple years ago for pretty cheap. And so yeah, these albums weren't albums that I listened to a lot for a long time. Like I kind of had them around and just didn't really listen to them. Recently I've been listening to Other Voices more, just kind of being tired of the other Doors albums sometimes, and like wanting to listen to something by them that I haven't listened to that much. I kind of gravitated towards this a little bit more, and so my appreciation for this album is definitely increasing. I think I was pretty hard on it when I reviewed it last time, and this review is definitely going to be pretty different. I think that this album is kind of flawed, but I do think overall it's a pretty strong album. And I kind of like, I think that a lot of people's problems with this is really that it doesn't have Jim, and I kind of like don't fault them for going on without him. I think things like when he was still in the band around the end of LA Woman, things were kind of like uncertain with what he was going to do, like if he was going to be in the band or not. So I think they had already kind of just been like working on some of these songs without him. And I don't know, I get why they tried to go on, and I don't really think that was a bad thing. It opens with The Eye of the Sun. It's a song by Ray. I think it's a cool opening track. It's catchy. I like all the musical parts in it, the keyboards, the guitars, the drums, which really, I like all the playing on this album, and I think all the instruments on this album sound pretty good. The production on this album, to me, reminds me a little bit of, LA Woman, but worse. And I don't know if it's the copies of this album I have or just the way I've always heard it, but to me it just sounds like, I don't know, maybe it was a little rushed. It's just not a very polished sounding album, which I think would have helped them a little bit in this case, trying to present new singers and trying to move on from the loss of Jim. I think that if they had something that was maybe just a little more polished, it might have helped a little bit. But I don't think it's a bad sounding album, and I think that my problems with the production mainly are more around the vocals, and I don't know how much that could have been helped really, because some of that might be just down to the singing. But yeah, I like the way the instruments sound on the album, but at the same time, I'm not crazy about all of the production on this album. As far as the singing goes, this one's sung by Ray. Robbie also sings on this album. Ray has the better of the two voices. He kind of has a little bit of a similar voice to Jim's in some ways, but just his inflections and stuff are really different. There was recently I was on YouTube and I saw where someone had made an AI version of this album where it was supposed to be Jim's voice singing the songs. And I listened to it and I could kind of hear where they were trying to make it sound like Jim, but it really didn't. It really kind of still sounded like Ray, because Ray's just inflections and singing and the choices that he makes with what he does with his voice are so different from what Jim would do, that it just doesn't line up the same way. But yeah, I don't know. Ray just has like kind of a something about the way he sings some of the stuff just has a little bit of more cheesy, like of a sound to it to me than Jim's. Like he just doesn't sound like as sincere some of the times. So that I think is my like big problem with his voice. But I don't really dislike his voice or anything. I think he has some really good performances on this album. He's just not up to the level that Jim was. And then Robbie, who sings the second track, which is Variety is the Spice of Life, and that's also written by Robbie. His voice is very strange. He had kind of sang already on a song on the Soft Parade, just very briefly, and I think he sounded better on that than he does on most of the songs on this album. But yeah, I don't know. He's got a very strange voice. I've kind of gotten more used to it and can appreciate it a little bit more. But I don't know that he should have been singing lead on some of these. I don't know. He's got a really strange voice, and he kind of sounds like older than what he was here. Like he's just got one of those kind of like strange old man voices. Sorry, Robbie, if you see this, I doubt you ever will, but you know. Just in case. Just a strange voice. The song itself is kind of strange. It's grown on me, and because like I said, all the instrumental stuff on this I like. It's all, you know, good Doors music instrumentally. It's really the vocals and the lyrics where some of these songs kind of struggle. This one, he rhymes endurance with insurance, which has just always kind of irritated me for some reason. But it's not a bad song. I don't really dislike it. While it's on, I enjoy it. I like all the guitar and stuff, all the instrumental stuff. It's kind of fun to sing along to because how goofy it is. So yeah, it's a fun song. The third track, Ships with Sails. This is by Robbie and John Densmore, and this to me is the best song on the album. I think that this song would have been a highlight on like almost any of the Doors albums, especially like if Jim had sung the song. I think it would have been crazy good, but. As it is, it's still really great. They kind of go for the like Light My Fire structure where they've got vocals and then a long instrumental section and then more vocals, and so that works really well. It's got a really cool instrumental part. Really love all the guitars and keyboards and everything in it. Got some cool drums from Densmore and some extra percussion stuff going on. And I think Ray's vocal on this song is one of the best vocals he has on the album. Maybe like his best vocal performance just overall. So yeah, really, really great track. And like if anything, check out just that song from this album. Like it should have been like a huge Doors song, really. Fourth track, Tightrope Ride. This I think was the single. I don't know I think Ships with Sails might have been a single as well, or a B-side or something, but I think Tightrope Ride was a single. It's by Ray and Robbie, sung by Ray. It's a fun rocker. It's got some cool bass. I can't remember who the session bass player is on this track, but I like the bass. Cool guitar. He has this line about like a Rolling Stone, and then he says like Brian Jones, so I don't know if he's like taking a kind of a dig at the Stones with that, or what exactly was going on with that line, but I always just wonder that when I hear it. So yeah, Tightrope Ride, pretty good song. Fifth track, Down on the Farm, is by Robbie, and this one, it's kind of a weird song. It's really kind of makes me think of like two songs stuck together. I used to really hate this one. I think I really like tore into this one the last time I reviewed it, but it's really kind of grown on me. Just a weird song though, kind of goofy in parts, but there are definitely parts of it I really like. I like all the instrumental stuff. Really like Densmore's drumming in it. So that one's grown on me. I used to hate it. Now I enjoy it quite a bit. The sixth track, I'm Horny, I'm Stoned, another Robbie song. This one, fun, kind of funny, as the title would suggest. Catchy. It's got some cool guitar in it from Robbie. I like the drums a lot. Robbie's vocal works for this. I think he kind of works better on goofy songs. Which, I mean, I guess Variety is the Spice of Life's a little bit funny, but I don't know. I just think he works better on this song. Seventh track, Wandering Musician, is another Robbie song, but this one's sung by Ray, and I think that was a good choice. This one I like a lot. I like all the keyboard stuff going on it. It's kind of more of a ballad, but I don't know if you'd really call it a ballad, but it's kind of like that. Yeah, this one I've always thought was catchy. It was one of the songs when I first went through and listened to this album on YouTube. There was a few like this one and Ships with Sales that I immediately was just like, oh, those are good songs. So yeah, I've always liked this one. The eighth track, Hang On to Your Life, is the last track, and it's another Ray and Robbie song. It's got a cool intro with some more extra percussion. Ray sings it. Kind of a weird song. I like the keyboards a lot. I think it's an interesting way to end the album, but just kind of a strange song. I like all the playing and stuff in it, but I don't really have a strong opinion on it. So The Doors' Other Voices, to me this is really, honestly, kind of an underrated album. There's nothing on here really anymore that I dislike. Like all the songs on here I have pretty much gotten into. Some of them are kind of strange, but I think that makes them enjoyable, kind of interesting. The biggest problem with this album, I think, is really just the vocals, and some of the lyrics aren't up to the standards of what they were on previous Doors albums. That said, the playing and stuff, I think all the instrumental stuff is still there. So if you're getting into the Doors, definitely don't go straight to the Gymless albums. This should be only after you've listened to all those albums that you like go on to this. But if you have listened to those albums, and if you are a fan of the albums of the Doors with Jim, I can't talk, then I would recommend checking this album out, because I think that it does have some good stuff on it. And Ships with Sails, I think, should definitely be heard by all the Doors fans that haven't listened to it or haven't given it a chance, because it doesn't have Jim, because it's a really great song. So yeah, Other Voices, I think, pretty underrated album, and doesn't really deserve as bad of a reputation as it has.